former senior advisor to the White House National Security Advisor during the Obama administration. Samantha, thank you for joining us today. What are you learning about this situation that is of note as we're getting the details in still?
Certainly. And Richard, the first thing I'll say is that I want to offer my condolences to the families of everyone impacted. This is a horrific incident, and as we know, there have been many of these before. I hope that there will be less going forward. We had a horrible attack in Kabul just a few weeks ago, and I started my career in Iraq. I spent a year there, 2007 to 2008. I think anyone that has served in a war zone knows the situation on the ground is always incredibly dynamic and incredibly difficult. I think what we really need to keep in mind is that President Trump is expected to release a new Afghanistan strategy any day. I served for 4 years on the National Security Council, and if I was there today, I'd strongly urge the president to ask himself the following question. Are the security risks coming out of Afghanistan today against the United States significant enough that we are going to put at risk U.S. personnel on the ground in Afghanistan? If the answer to that question is yes, I think there are two things that President Trump really needs to think hard about over the next couple of days before he releases his strategy. The first is we need to fully resource our mission in Afghanistan. As you know, our combat mission ended in December 31st, 2014, but we still have about 8,000 troops there in a variety of capacities, mainly train, advise, and assist as part of a NATO mission. And then we also have a complementary counterterrorism team there. If we are going to stay in Afghanistan, how many additional troops do we need and for what function? That's question number one. But question number two is, what does the foreign assistance program look like? President Trump announced a budget a few weeks ago. In the words of Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, this budget would gut our soft power capacity. If the president is really serious about stability in Afghanistan, we need to fully fund the State Department, the U.S. Agency for International Development. Everybody agrees that the civilian presence is equally as important as the military presence.
Right. And then they're looking at that question of the vacuum if we do withdraw. These insider attacks, right? And unfortunately, we're reporting on that today, and we brought up the example in March. How can these be stopped, if at all?
I wish I could tell you that there was an easy fix. I think one critical thing to think about is the role of Pakistan in this scenario. The Taliban has the capacity to infiltrate the Afghan National Security Forces. These attacks have been happening largely over the course of our almost 16-year presence on the ground in Afghanistan. I would strongly advise President Trump, as he thinks about these insider attacks, to think about a strategy for getting Pakistan more positively involved in helping the Taliban not get access to the arms that they need, the funding that they need, and the flow of foreign fighters across the border.
All right. Thank you so much, Samantha Vinograd, with some perspective on what has happened today. And we're, of course, going to stay on top of, again, the 3 U.S. soldiers that were killed in our breaking news this hour.